righteousness, holiness, the fear of God. Abraham's evangelistic ministry presents Revival in the Land, the television broadcast that promotes righteousness, holiness, and the fear of God. As you watch this program, you will catch a fresh fire of Holy Ghost revival, and your life will experience an all-round spiritual transformation. Your host is Bishop Abraham Olaleye, the anointed vessel the Lord has prepared to bring you this revival message. The man of God will be praying for you after this message. Stay tuned.
Welcome one more time to your favorite program, Revival in the Land. 2 weeks ago, Pastor Wale Adefarasin was with me on this episode, and we had useful discussions about the way forward for Nigeria, particularly for the new elected leaders. But it's important for me to bring a fresh introduction for the benefits of those who missed that episode. Pastor Wale is the General Overseer of Guiding Light Assembly in Parkview Estate, Ikoyi, Lagos, here in Nigeria, and is the convening apostle for the International Coalition of Apostolic Leaders, Nigeria's chapter. We call it Nigerian Coalition of Apostolic Leaders, and he is the host of the Heart of the Matter, a kingdom program that airs on Ebony TV, and he is an apostle to the call, a man of great influence, a man after the heart of Jesus, and a humble instrument of the Almighty God. And I want to welcome Pastor Wale once again to Revival in the Land, sir.
Thank you very much, Bishop.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to have you come around and articulate those understanding and revelations and insights that God has given you in the way the church should be and the way the church should run, and the understanding that, corresponds with the mind of God. I believe in understanding the mind of God, the purpose of God for the church, that God will make the church what it ought to be in Nigeria. Now, in the episode we aired 2 weeks ago, you spoke to the newly elected leaders about what to do to move the nation forward. I had to put them down that day that I don't forget anything. Today I want you to help us define the role of the religious system. You spoke to the politicians today. We want you to help us. Is there a part of the church that the church has to play? I use the word religious because we're a country of multi-religious system, but I know we are looking more at the church, the role of the church, from the perspective of the importance that you have always, clarified over time. So that what is the church's part in a new nation?
Well, first of all, the word church is new. It arises in the New Testament. It was not in the Old Testament.
Exactly.
And the Greek word used that was translated church is ecclesia. Ecclesia means a called out people, but it also means a governing people. The church needs to understand
that governing people,
like a senate.
Okay.
That the church is not merely a club or a social gathering. It is a group of people who have the authority from God to govern nations.
So you are saying, Pastor, that it goes beyond just having our regular Sunday or midweek service.
It goes way beyond that.
Way beyond.
Now, governing people, of course, the church members are not members of the National Assembly, etc., etc. But we govern in the realm of the Spirit. And nothing will manifest in the natural until it has been ordained in the realm of the Spirit. So the church is a governing people. Now, I like to ask this question. How do you measure the success of a church? Many people will suggest that if it's got large numbers, so the mega churches are deemed to be successful. If it has beautiful edifices, great buildings, or even the amount of money the church controls is a measure. Not only for people outside the church, but unfortunately for people inside the church as well. The true measurement of the success of a church, that which I believe is God's own standard, is how much impact is the church having in the community.
Wow.
Are people coming to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ?
Wow.
is poverty, are people being delivered from poverty? Are people being delivered from oppression?
Wow.
These are the things Jesus himself testified or declared that he had come to earth to do. So that's church.
This is very interesting to understand church from that perspective, that it goes way beyond, as you put it, the Sunday gathering. That's good, to gather and fellowship together and worship together, and take from the church what we need on daily basis in the week to do church, to be the salt and the light of the world. We'll be coming to that. I know it's your special area. We have been talking about so much corruption in Nigeria, not just in graft, in our educational system, in the socio-political, in virtually every area, infrastructure, that everything seems to be down. The ships are down. We are not moving forward as we ought. Judging by the natural blessings that God has given Nigeria, and so we can pinpoint corruption. And I say, what will be the part of the church? Now, I haven't said what you said about what the church is or who the church is. What will be the part of the church in fighting corrupt tendencies and practices in the land?
But I think there's some very simple things. I mean, once we recognize who we are, the reason that we have corruption is simply the fact that there's no sanction.
Whoa.
In any society of human beings, if there is no punishment for wrongdoing, it will continue. Now, that means that we need to look to government to sanction people who commit crimes.
Wow.
Then secondly, people follow examples. And if we set examples as the leadership of the church,
yes,
if we are exemplary in our conduct,
yes, sir.
If we do not, because we're late for a meeting, take our convoy with our security vehicles down a one-way road, if we do not do it, then others are not likely to do it. People emulate their leaders.
Wow.
And so that's the first thing. And then let's check the people that come and donate to the church. Let's if we see large donations from people and we cannot explain the source of their income, we ought to be able to tell them to take their money back.
Wow, I like this.
So these are some of the things that we can do quickly.
Very quickly
to begin to check
matter.
corruption.
Because I remember this should be 2005. You gave us the statistics that more Nigerians listen to more pastors than the president. Can you shed light on that?
Well, I was saying that every Sunday there are 40 million Nigerians in the church, at least 40 million Nigerians, listening to various preachers. How many people listen to a broadcast from the head of state? Not as many.
Not as many.
So we have the potential influence to change our society. But if we're not wielding that influence, if we're using that influence, you see, the church is not a bless me club. It is not a place where you come to get blessings. Blessings are supposed to follow you wherever you go.
Wow.
If just considering the fact that the same one who had power, so that in a flash of lightning, Satan was ejected from hell, from heaven, along with all his cohorts.
Whoa.
If that same one dwells in us, we have power. We don't need to look for power.
Wow.
We just believe God that if He's on the inside of us, He will demonstrate His power through us.
Wow. What I always think, and we have discussed this with a lot of people, that when Christianity came to Nigeria, it was like God bringing us an alternative to idol worship. So, the paradigm in those days, the understanding is that the Ifa, the priest, the herbalist must do something to help you when you have a problem. So Jesus is introduced to us, prayer is introduced to us, and then we feel like, okay, now we don't have to go after those herbalists any longer, so let's come to Jesus. And so we come to Jesus with the mindset of coming to receive something. I say, well, that's not bad. But now, I think that God expects us to grow beyond that level, to now come to a place, and I'm sure you have also spoken about this before, so that God accepts the fact that we have come to Him because of a challenge. But after some times, I think revelation must be progressive. And I think the church has a responsibility in this area. I don't know what you want to say about it.
Well, I believe that if you do for others, God will raise those that will do for you. If you pray for others, God will raise those that will pray for you.
Exactly.
So we must, Christ himself was other-centered. There was never a single occasion on which he complained about what he wants, what he needs, He just focused on being a blessing to the people around him. And if we can do that, we cannot escape God's blessing.
Wow. Well, every time we discuss, you always echo this Jesus' important teaching on the salt and the light. And now we are talking about the role of the church in a new dispensation, a political dispensation, and everybody is hopeful, believing God that there can be a positive change, things can change for the better, our nation can be healed, righteousness can return to the land, justice can become, one of the major, focus of the new administration. So you speak about salt and light as part of the role of the church in an emerging new nation. So, can you throw more light on this for our viewers to understand this salt and light dimension, which is one of your serious messages?
But I think, first of all, we've just got to understand that God has kept the church in the land so that the church will influence the land and the kingdom of God will be established.
That's a very important point. I believe that preachers and everybody, Christians watching this, must understand this truth, that we are kept here for this purpose. Over to you, sir.
Let me give you an example. Many parents enjoy watching their children dancing to Doro this and Doro that and Shechem, Shechem, Shechem. And the entertainment industry is full of people that are singing songs that do not glorify God or do not have edifying words. We have so many talented musicians in church.
Yes, sir.
Can we not provide an alternative? I'm not saying they should sing gospel music.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying sing songs that edify.
That edify.
So if the church has people who can go out into the entertainment industry, the musical entertainment industry, and change that industry to one that glorifies God.
Wow.
Well, and this is, Nollywood is huge, probably the third largest film industry in the world.
Exactly.
After Hollywood and Bollywood.
Yes, sir.
Some of the films we have always go back to shrines and so on and so forth. We have talented Christians who can write scripts. We have actors who can act good parts and produce movies that are both entertaining and edifying at the same time. These are the things that can change our communities.
Wow.
If we in the church restructure church into such a way that members of church recognize their relevance in different fields of endeavor go out there and begin to bring God's kingdom to bear wherever they are.
Wherever they are. That's very interesting to me. And I know that you are already doing this in guiding light. You are not just telling us something in theory, something you are already doing. So every time I watch the email promoting the Heart of the Matter, your television program, I see a lot of young people interviewed by you, and I know they are members of the church. How does that happen?
They're not always members of the church. We look for people who are doing something positive to help their community, and we showcase them. That's basically what the
So they don't have to be preachers.
They don't have to be preachers.
I like that. that.
There's one person who was going around the streets of Lagos, taking demented people off the roads and getting them into where they could be rehabilitated or treated. We showcased him.
So that's kingdom.
That's kingdom. There's another person that was promoting healthy living, healthy lifestyles. We showcased them. But we've not even started yet, Bishop.
Wow.
Because I want everybody in the church to know the area that they are called to, not necessarily in ministry like ushering and choir, but the area in the community that they're called to make a difference. And network them together so that church is not, the departments on church will no longer just be choir, ushers,
intercessors.
But now we will have departments like entertainment industry.
Wow, in the church.
So that we are focusing on what's happening in our communities.
And it's like building values.
Yes, sir.
Moralities, the things that are dear and near to God's heart.
Yes.
That to me is very interesting. Now, but there is this idea that the messages we hear nowadays somehow encourage corrupt practices, even though we have asked questions in that area. So what do you think the church should be doing about the message, the content? Because you are talking about kingdom-based values, things that people can do to bring righteousness to the land, to help people identify their area of strength, to have a meaningful input to the development of the nation. So in what way do you think the message we hear nowadays encourage, and what should the church be preaching, the ecclesia, like you rightly put it?
I think the first thing is to unlock the door,
okay,
and let Jesus back into the church.
Ooh.
Because we have success, we have breakthrough, we have prosperity.
Yes, sir.
Any of those things devoid of Christ is vain and meaningless.
Wow.
And what good is it if you have several houses and several cars, lots of money in the bank, but you don't have Jesus Christ?
Wow.
So first and foremost, Jesus must be central to everything we do, everything we teach.
Wow.
It must revolve around Jesus Christ.
Revolve around Jesus Christ.
I believe in preaching prosperity.
Okay.
But prosperity is not necessarily just to do with money.
Okay.
It has to do with the whole of life.
Tell us.
God said He wants us to prosper.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell a very quick story.
Yes,
there was this gentleman who died.
Okay.
And they took his body home to the village to bury him. He was a very wealthy man. And he had several houses and cars and so on. And while they were lowering him into the grave, somebody just showed up from the bush, a lunatic, and said, "Stop, stop, stop." And so they stopped. And he said, "You need to widen this grave, because how are you going to fit all his cars and all his houses into the grave?"
Whoa.
See, we don't take a thing out of this world. So we need to learn to invest in eternity while we're here.
Wow.
And that has to be central to the prosperity message that is preached, that there is a far greater end to which we're working than to have material things while here on this earth.
This is interesting. Now, this is so much something for us to ponder upon. I believe our viewers are being enlightened, to know that values have become important, essential. If Nigeria is going to move forward, if the church is going to remain relevant, we have to build people, not just ushers and intercessors and choristers, but people who can bring change to society, built from the church, kingdom men from the church, which means we are not just mindful about the four corners of our denomination or branch. Now, Pastor...
Bishop, can I just say this?
Yes, sir.
A country is determined by its geographical boundaries.
Exactly.
But a nation is determined by its people.
Exactly.
And we in Nigeria are not yet a nation.
Ooh.
We build a nation when every Nigerian shares the same values.
Exactly.
When every Nigerian shares a same basic vision for the nation.
Okay.
And this has to be built by our new leaders, by our churches. Let's determine what are common values that we all share and begin to harp on them and drum them into people.
This is very important, and I know that your program, The Heart of the Matter, will go a long way in achieving this aim. Our program, and all many others that we can encourage who are of like minds, who understand the church from the kingdom perspective. But before we close, Pastor, I want to ask you to quickly tell our viewers about your program, The Heart of the Matter. What is the focus of that program? By the way, mentioned in passing, now they want to know more about it.
Yes, The Heart of the Matter was conceived to be different, to be able to deal with topics that people don't often talk about, to be able to showcase things that people don't know about, that can elicit their support and so on. I mean, we've had people that deal with children that have autism. Autism is a condition many people don't understand.
That's true.
Yet it doesn't make a child mad. So we've got all kinds of, cerebral palsy, all kinds of people that are doing great things for God in the kingdom, just letting them be known. That's one of our areas. And then sometimes discussing some of the knotty issues, marriage and remarriage, or divorce and remarriage, just highlighting some of these things. and talking about them. That's really what we try to do on the Heart of the Matter.
And also to rebuild the virtues of values. Value-based something. You want to say something about that?
Well, one of my thoughts is that at the root of our tragedy as a nation is a loss of values.
Okay.
As many of us were growing up,
we
were taught things like honesty is the best policy and education is the only legacy your parents can give you. You'll be surprised at how children of today never know these things. They're not taught these things. Their parents are so busy working 9 to 5 or sometimes 9, 10 at night. They don't see their children. And so children are growing up with a whole load of different values to what we had when we were growing up. And I think we need to go back
to
the ancient landmarks.
To the ancient landmark.
And begin to teach values.
This is very interesting. Well, before we close this program, I would like Pastor to say one or two words to our newly elected leaders and, of course, to the church and to Nigerians. And that's what we'll be doing right after this short break. Don't go away yet. We'll be with you in a moment. God bless you.
It's time for the man of God to pray for your salvation, healing and miracles. He will also pray for you to catch this revival fire.
The man of God will speak to the newly elected leaders, the church, and Nigerians. Pastor Wale.
Well, first of all, let me start with the church. Please keep on praying. Keep on praying for Nigeria. And remember, set an example. Lead exemplary lives. If it's a one-way road, don't break the law. To Nigerians, be patient. The rot has set in Nigeria so deeply that no government, no matter how good it is going to turn things around overnight. So be patient. We're not going to get electricity 24/7 on the 30th of May. It's going to take time. And so let's be patient with our government, but let's also support them by encouraging them and bearing a lot of the challenges that we have to bear. To our newly elected leaders, you have been elected on a platform of transparency, accountability, and honesty. Because I know of many of the key leaders, I know that you are decent people who intend to set this nation on the right path. Please remember that that's why you're in office. Don't ever forget it. Nigerians unborn are depending upon you to do what is needful now so that the future will be assured.
Thank you very much, Pastor Wale, for the insights and the explanations, the illuminations that you have given our viewers, even myself, concerning the role of the church, what the church ought to be to the nation, the salt of the earth and the light of the world, and to restore values to Nigeria, to know that all of us have joint responsibilities in bringing the Nigeria of the dream of every one of us. And God has prophecies concerning Nigeria, and our part must be played. God will always be God. He will do what He has promised to do. And we trust God that Pastor Wale will always come up every time we invite him because he has something as an apostolic leader to offer to Nigerians. And I'm so excited about that. Well, I want to encourage you to continue to watch this program. Tell your friends and colleagues in office, your co-students, to watch Revival in the Land. And any such programs that promotes value, that makes Christ the center of their message, because these are the things that will last. We brought nothing to the world, as he pointed, and obviously we are taking nothing away. We want to join us, partnering with us to bring this good news to every nook and cranny of this nation. The Bible says the glory of the knowledge of God will cover the earth as waters cover the sea. Keep calling. Somebody will be right there to answer your call. You want to call, put a call through to the man of God. The line will be there, and your questions will be answered. Until next week, when I come with another guest, I want you to remain blessed, revived, and embrace the reality we are in a new nation. Don't forget what the man of God has said. Pray for those in authority. God bless you.
Thank you for watching Revival in the Land. I believe you've been greatly challenged and blessed by today's message. You too can become a vessel of revival and national transformation today. To partner with the man of God to spread this revival message, call 0802-307-0525. Visit our website at www.aem-ministries.org. You can also send your mail to tv@aem-ministries.org. The man of God will be glad to pray with you and answer your questions when you call. God bless you. This is Revival in the Land. Catch the fire.